Hello everyone, welcome back to another card tutorial. Today I have this super cute top folding Polaroid card. These seem to be my obsession at the moment. I'm having so much fun making these. As you can see, I'm using a bit of an older set, the Love You Bunches, which was a collaboration between Lawn Fawn and another company. I was lucky enough to get my hands on it a while ago and I haven't had the chance to use it yet, so I'm going to use it today. I'm also going to be using my 4-square backdrop. This is how I make that Polaroid shape. I've already got my top folding card cut out from some white cardstock, and I've cut it down so that it's the perfect size to match that die. Here's my Love You Bunches set. I was going to use some vine dies from another company, but with Lawn Fawn's new release arriving in time, I'm going to be using some of the big new leaves today. And I'm also going to be using a sheet of acetate or window sheet. To get started, I'm going to do my background first, and I'm using a couple of colours. I've got some candied apple, abandoned coral, and spice marmalade. I'm going to be using these to kind of make a bit of a sunset background. Going in with my darker colour first, the candied apple, and making my way down to the orange. I go back and forth over this for a little bit to get a really nice blend. These colours work really beautifully together. Once I was done with my ink blending, I then sprinkled some water over the top. And once I had seen that the colour was starting to change, I then mopped up the excess with a paper towel. For a bit of sparkle, I'm using my red gold watercolour pigment and sprinkling that over the top too. Now to prep my little Polaroid window. So I'm just going to be trimming out the cross in the middle of this, as I won't need it. And I feel like once that piece is gone, this really does just look like an oversized Polaroid photo. And I love that there's that space at the bottom because I don't know if you ever played with Polaroids, but I used to love writing captions down the bottom. And so that's kind of the feel that I go for when I make these cards. So I'm going to be doing a sentiment that's not part of this stamp set today, but I thought it would work perfectly well because there's monkeys and bananas, and I'm going to do I'm bananas for you. So I've cut out all the letters in black cardstock for the word bananas with my Coles ABC dies. This word was a little bit long, so I'm really glad that it fit nicely in here. If the word was any longer, I probably wouldn't be able to do it this way. I'm glad I've got this little die set because the letters for this one are quite narrow, where my Coles ABC dies, they were way too big for this. So I took the middle letter, one of the A's, and even though I've cut out that cross in the middle that divided up those squares, there's still some little stitch marks from where that was. It's kind of perfect because it gives me the center for this bottom piece. So I've just lined up the A with that little stitch mark and then done the letters on either side to make it as even as possible. So I went through my stash of stamps to look for the other little bits that would make the sentiment perfect. And this little set was amazing because it's got I'm and for you in the same font as each other, so I could quickly put I'm near the bananas and then for you underneath. It worked out perfectly. Just to brighten this area up a little bit and add a little bit of detail, I went over my letters with my size 1 Jelly Roll pen. And if you're going to recreate this card, don't copy this bit exactly because I messed up where I put the marks on the end. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was just excited to get things done. And I feel like they look a little bit funny, but it's not really that noticeable. I probably shouldn't have even pointed it out. Once that was done, I then took my piece of acetate and then measured it so that it would be perfect for behind my Polaroid to make my window. Here I am just measuring out some double-sided tape that will hold my acetate in place. With this stamp set being a collaboration with another company, I don't think there was an option to buy it without the dies, and I'm kind of really grateful for that because these monkey tails would have been such a pain to cut out by hand. So I'm really glad the matching dies are a part of this set. So I've got these two adorable little monkeys that are going to be swinging, and I've got bananas for them to hold, and I'm stamping out some extra bananas to put down with the sentiment, just to tie it all together. As always, I'm going to be colouring in with a mix of Copic markers and alcohol markers. Just 2 shades per area, simply blending a dark one and a lighter one together for a bit of dimension and shadow. Once they were coloured in and had their white highlights, it was then time to do some other decorations. So by this point, I was so lucky that my new Lawn Fawn things had arrived, so I could finish this card. I was waiting on just a few bits and pieces, and I really loved this flower. So I stamped it out a couple of times, and I'm going to show you how I coloured it in because I feel like it turned out really pretty, but it turned out to be a little bit too big for what I wanted it. I'm going to save these flowers for another card because I think they're cute. So I copied the way I coloured these in with just the smallest flower that's in the set, and I used that one instead for this card. So as you can see here, this is what I mean by that flower was just a bit too big. I felt like it took up way too much of that monkey's head, but the other flower in that stamp set was the perfect size. So I'm going to go with that one today, and like I said, those other flowers will pop up in another card soon. And here I am, very excited that these new leaf dies have arrived, and I'm going to be cutting them out with some different shades of green cardstock before I go over them with some different coloured inks. I've decided to go with some strange ones. I've watched the Lawn Fawn videos and I thought that using the peacock feathers on some of the green ones was a great idea, but then I thought maybe I can use some purple just to darken up some of the other leaves, and I think that turned out pretty good too. With my third leaf design, I'm just going to be using some green. Nothing too crazy there. I'm just taking a small amount of this ink and just gently rubbing it on the edges. I didn't want to completely cover these leaves. I just wanted it there for a little bit of dimension and just so that the colours didn't look so flat. And here they are when they're done. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to glue these down. I'm going to keep grabbing my Polaroid frame and just making sure that it all lines up and that nothing is showing where it shouldn't be, because I don't want these to be hanging over the edges when they're meant to be contained. And I'm going to also make sure that when I glue these that they are super flat, because these are actually going to be in part of the shaker and I don't want any of my shaker pieces to get stuck behind them. So you're going to see me pressing them down quite a lot to make sure that they're as flush as I can get them with that cardstock. After gluing down most of my leaves, I then stuck my monkeys down and then used the two of the smaller leaves that I had to kind of stick a bit over their tails, so it didn't look like they were completely floating. Kind of looks like they're hanging off something. And again, I'm going to make sure that I've got them glued down as flat as possible so that they don't interfere with any shaker elements. Okay, we're starting to get there. We're going to assemble the shaker window. And for this, I'm just simply using some kids adhesive craft foam. And today I'm only going with one layer. I didn't feel like I needed to double it up because my shaker elements really aren't too thick. And I'm just going to pop some thin strips all around where my shaker window is, making sure that there are no gaps. And down the bottom, I didn't really have to be so neat because that's not going to affect the shaker as much. It's just going to be there to make sure that this top part of the card just sits at all one level on my card base. Once I was happy with all that, I then used my anti-static powder tool, sprinkled a bit of powder all over my monkeys and the leaves, and on the inside of my window, especially around the edges, just to give my little shaker pieces the best chance at not sticking to anything. These little shaker elements I'm using today, I have had for years. They're available at lots of craft stores, they're on eBay, they're probably on Amazon, and on AliExpress. They're just little banana slices. And I thought, I've had them in a drawer for years, and I thought that this would be the perfect time to bring them out and put them to use. I never thought that I would have a need for tiny banana slices, but this card is perfect for that. I also added some other little shaker pieces. They're just like tiny little diamantés. I'm pretty sure they're just made out of plastic, but they're like a full 3D little diamond shape. They don't have a flat backing on them. So now I have just added a whole heap of PVA glue to the back of my shaker window, and I'm going to carefully place it down. The reason I use PVA glue for this is that it does give me a little bit of wriggle room. I can move it around just a little bit if I felt like I didn't get it centered, dropping it down on the first go. I then just pop a container over the top of it just so that the glue can start to adhere before I take it off and stick my final little elements on the front of my card, these adorable little bananas. And then once that's done, I'm going to pop a container over the top and leave it overnight and hope that it pushes everything down nice and evenly and that I won't have any little escaping shaker pieces. Okay, it's the next morning now. Let's see how that went. Let's give it a shake. So there we go, this card is complete. Check out all those shaker pieces moving around so nicely. I am really happy with this card. I think it is super cute, and I think I might have to make more of these Polaroid cards. I think I might have to do a whole series on them, they're just so much fun. If you enjoyed today's tutorial, then please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers, and I'd love for you to join us. Thank you so much for watching today. Bye!